Hello, everybody. It's Kenneth coming to you live from the dungeon, or the man cage, as my friend Mitra likes to call it. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things that are going on in the United States. A couple of things to talk about. I argue with my friends. Most of my friends are conservatives, so I get to hear both sides all the time. But I want to tell you why people feel the way they do about things and what's happened this week that we could talk about. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Trump met Putin in Alaska. Why is that significant? Well, he did it without Zelensky. Zelensky is the president of Ukraine. Um, it is believed that if they were to make a deal that didn't involve the president of Ukraine, or at least some representation that would give credence to whatever is agreed upon, it'd be a waste of time. Some people believe that Putin wanted to remind Trump on whatever he had on him. The conservatives didn't really like the results of the meeting. It seemed as though Putin got to stand up there, talk to the American people in Russian, and then basically use his narrative and got it out there, and then hopped on a plane and left. It was we'll say, we'll hail it as a failure. It could have been better. There was no agreement reached, and even if it would have had to been run through Ukraine. You gotta understand, Ukraine has already had a large swath of it taken. Crimea belonged to Ukraine under the Obama administration, and they got swept to the side by Russia, and decided that never again they were going to let that happen. So, if anything was to be agreed upon, the big stickler is security guarantees. Putin will promise that he won't do something, and then will go and do it. So there is no agreement that can be had without guarantees as far as Europe is concerned. There was also no European representation as well, and that's why I think a lot of people who aren't conservative felt like it was a failure. Also in the news, Mr. Bill Barr. Remember him? He was the former United States Attorney General under the Trump administration. Their relationship didn't end the greatest. He fought very hard for Trump until he didn't. When he was walking out the door, he kind of called Trump an idiot and said he wasn't the greatest boss, or all some of the things. So they believe that Bill Barr might have information on the Epstein files, and they deposed him, and he said that he did not notice any wrongdoing on Trump as far as Epstein was concerned. And he testified, and he said as far as he knew, Trump was not involved. And so we'll go with that for right now. There is a show called Surrounded. It is a great show. I've been watching it for about a year and a half now, where they will take 20 people, surround one person with an opposing point of view, and then he will state a fact that he believes to be true, and he has to defend that fact against any of the 20 who sit in the seat. When they sit in the seat, they have the option to vote the person who's challenging him out if they get enough votes. So the show really took off when I think his name is Mindy. There was a gentleman by his name is Mindy Hassan. So I saw Candace Owens on there. She got wrecked. I saw another guy on there, another conservative guy. They were getting wrecked by these people. So they brought a liberal on there, but the liberal was a journalist. He is a very accomplished journalist, and he's lightweight a genius. Not the one to argue with. And when he was going against far-right Republicans. Now, understand, when they say far-right Republicans, they're not talking about people who are just conservative. We're talking about people who don't believe, who are racist openly, who don't believe immigrants should be here. They have wild views, and it's not until you lay them out. Even some of the conservatives on the panel were cringing, like, "Oh, shoot, that's tough." But one by one, he decimated them all. He decimated them all. It wasn't close. So they brought on 20 conservatives, 20 black conservatives, to test a black radical. Sales. Yeah, Amanda Sales is her name. So she's not a person I would consider a radical. I think she has views about black people that a large swath of white people would agree with too. Um, I think because she is tough with uh, reparations and things like that, I guess that makes her um, radical, but whatever. Um, she did something, she took a tack that I have never seen on the show. She let the other people speak. And when I say that was triggering, man, I feel you can be conservative and not have bad feelings towards black people. You can be a black conservative and not feel like black people are ignorant or miseducated or easily led. You have to stand on the principles of conservatism, and that's not hard to do at all. Fiscally conservatives spend gun rights, boom. But these people were like, man, black people wake up in the morning, they want to kill each other. I was like, what? What? I'm a black person. I'm a black people. And I have never had these feelings that they're explaining. I've never robbed anybody. I just lived my life. All my friends are the same. I have a friend who's a felon. One out of the 50 friends that I have who are black, I got one who's a felon. He's the coolest one, So it is hurtful to hear these white supremacist talking points and these cherry pick stats and all this stuff used by black people on black people. Imagine, right? Imagine there's a police officer, right? And he's saying police aren't that bad. And he's surrounded by other 20 police officers who are telling that police officer they beat their wives and they're dangerous and they look out for each other. And that police officer's like, well, maybe they do, some don't, this, and the third. And that's how, and he's hearing them out. And they're talking about one time in 1996 and this one time my grandfather and this and that and this one time. And it's obvious, it's anecdotal evidence that they're bringing to the table or cherry pick stats. And she didn't really have to. People in the comments were inflamed. They were saying all these things. But at the end of the day, just hearing them out, she won the argument, right? They were inconsistent. The black love definitely wasn't in the room. You get to see how some black conservatives view other black people. And it wasn't good, bro. It wasn't good at all. Also in the news, Democrats in Texas. Man, this is crazy. So last week, a bunch of, so they decided they wanted to gerrymander Texas. Texas is already heavily gerrymandered. It's not recommended that they were to do it, but the order came down from the top. Donald Trump said, I need 5 seats. The projections are looking like their Republicans are going to lose some seats in the House. So they want to find those seats. And they looked at Texas and said, we could definitely pull out 5 seats in Texas. No problem. The only problem was Texas wasn't due to redistrict for another 5 years. And they had just redistricted 5 years ago. So it's like a mid-decade gerrymandering, which gerrymandering is legal. The only states that ban gerrymandering are all Democrat states. Democrats, again, shooting themselves in the foot. There are 19 Republican states that have the power to manipulate their lines whenever they want to without a third party. And there are 7 Democratic states that have that same power. So to match energy, Governor Gavin Newsom was like, well, I'm going to do a poison pill. If you decide to gerrymander Texas, we will vote to gerrymander California. Okay? Well, now we haven't seen the projected maps from California, but California is huge, and 5 seats gerrymandered shouldn't be a problem. They could definitely do 8. Why haven't they done 8 as of yet? Because California has a third-party map drawer. The third-party map drawer draws the maps for California. There are a number of states that do this. Almost all of them are Democratic states. Again, shooting foot. But they're all, but California, they have a supermajority right now. So advancing the vote shouldn't be a problem if everybody's on board. There are some Democrats who aren't on board. All the Republicans are not on board. And there's a lawsuit to stop it, right? So in some case, what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. It's pot meets kettle. Ultimately, everything is leaning towards California, and I think today is the day they're supposed to vote on it, today or tomorrow. So, if they succeed, it'll be put to a vote in November. They could still fail off the vote. The people of California have to side with Gavin Newsom, and his approval ratings have actually doubled in the last week. Probably, I think it's because he's been trolling Trump hard. And the art, I don't know if you've ever played the dozens, but the art of the dozens, if you can use somebody's word, it's like a rap battle, right? If somebody states or does something, then states and does something, and then you state and do the same thing in a way that mocks or imitates them, and they take offense, it's proving your point. That what they do and what they say is stupid. It's like the oldest trick in the book, but it worked. I don't think Republicans listen to rap like that. They are highly offended at Newsom using Trump's verbiage, reposting pictures that Trump posted, except he puts himself in there and uses different people. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to check it out online. Dude's cray. Finally, the big reveal. So, since the beginning of the year, since Trump took office, it is perceived by some people that there has been an attack on the African Americans of this nation. There was a big deal about a plane crash, and they were blaming it on DEI, and there was no evidence that that the pilots or the people on there he just said it was DEI. Then they find out that the pilot who crashed was a woman. It's like, aha! I told you it was a gotcha moment for them. They have fired and removed a lot of people who are seen to have gotten their position through DEI, and replaced them with people who are obviously less qualified, who are friends of the program. So it is counterintuitive to their argument of having the most qualified or best person there. If you were to remove a DEI person you perceived as DEI and replace them with a more qualified person, somebody with more education or more experience, then it would make sense that there'll be no counter argument, we'll say. But he blatantly just puts his friends, he hires people off the news. It's crazy. So the latest attack has been the Smithsonian. There have been, so all the year they've been banning books that have advanced black education. They've been canceling black programs and erasing black history through the training of military officers. Even removing Jackie Robinson at one point. They had to reinstall him because people complained. But a lot of people didn't know that Jackie Robinson was a member of the Black Panther Tank Battalion. The same Black Panther Tank Battalion that the Black Panthers and the Black Panther get their name from was a Black Tank Battalion that served in the Second World War in the Iraq Shop. And there's been no movie. There's been a movie, but ain't nobody see that movie. But there's been a movie. So the Smithsonian is under attack because they believe that the things in the Smithsonian that have to do with slavery concentrate too much on the negative parts of slavery, right? I'm saying it again, they concentrate too much on the negative parts of slavery, which is to insinuate that there's a positive part of slavery. A lady went on the news recently and she said that only 2% of Americans own slaves. And that is a very misleading stat. And I'm going to tell you why. Slavery was illegal in Mexico. Slavery was illegal in Canada. Slavery was illegal in America, except for southern states. 30% of southern families had slaves. Hello, I'll say it again because it went blurry. It's so shocking it went blurry. 30% of southern families had slaves. In order to get that 2%, you have to include the entire United States, where slavery wasn't illegal, where the entire United, right? And only count the primary breadwinner of the family. So if my family had slaves, they would only count me as a slave owner and not count the 5 or 6 people in my family who also benefited from me having slaves. If you do that, you can drive that 30% number all the way down to 2%, right? So that's BS. So just like they did with that stat, they want to do that with the conversation around slavery. They want slavery to be sanitized. I understand why completely, coming from their perspective. They believe the less black people know and can identify with slavery, the less they'll have to complain about. They have to accept their conditions and move on, and maybe it'll boost them up, right? But here's the thing. This was the most prosperous time in American history for African Americans. Our employment was at record lows. The jails have been emptied out, and we're building wealth and finally learning how to keep the wealth in the hood. So we're on this upward trajectory, right? Climbing from the bottom. But they say, since you're not here with us yet, here's some things that we don't deal with, and we believe if you don't deal with them, it won't affect you as much. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. It's a tack that we haven't tried before, except for the first 140 years. But maybe we're wrong. All right. So I'm K. Russ. That's the news for the week. Take it easy.